Hey guys, it's Natalia, the founder of Upskill Me, and I wanted to do another video for non-native speakers who are thinking of strategies for themselves to move their language skills to a different level. And what I have discovered for myself is that you can drastically improve your speaking skills through writing. In this video, I would like to explain why writing skills are so important and why writing can actually help you improve your speaking. In fact, I don't use a fragmented approach towards a language. That means I don't look at the skills as if they were separate. And as long as I can remember all the language courses I have taken myself, and look, I have a teacher's degree myself, I can teach a foreign language officially, even the way we were trained, even the methodology that I learned at the university, pretty much says that these are the exercises to develop writing skills. These are the exercises to develop listening skills. These are the exercises to develop speaking skills. And they would all be separated, fragmented, and students would have to do different exercises to train speaking skills. And then they will train listening skills and then reading skills. And I saw every time that was not sustainable and that was not effective. That means that would not bring the results that people need. People are so concerned about their level, like, what is my level of English? Where am I right now?
Where am I?
If they want to find out, they'll be given a test. When they do the test, how do you know if you're intermediate or upper intermediate or pre-intermediate after you have taken the test? Every test is built up in such a way that they look at your language abilities from the perspective of 4 skills. How good is your reading? How good is your speaking? How good is your listening? How good is your writing? Let's say if you have advanced writing and advanced listening skills, but your speaking and your reading skills are pretty much intermediate, so your average result would be upper intermediate. The speaking skill would be, of course, the most important. They look at it because this is how you express yourself, this is how you articulate your thoughts in a language, and that's really important. But it makes really no sense to me if you look at a language as a number of fragments which are not connected. A language is a system, and it's a system that humans have invented. It's not a technology that people invented. It's a system that demonstrates how people think. It's a cognitive system that shows us how people see this world. And every culture, wherever you go, we're all human beings, but every culture has their own way of looking at things. And this is what has always been fascinating to me. You cannot study writing skills separately from speaking skills. You cannot learn to understand people, to train your listening skills without being able to say that yourself. So let's say, okay, you understand what people tell you, your listening skills are great, but if you are not able to reply, then what's the purpose, right? What's the point of it? This is why I look at the language as a system. All of the skills, all of the 4 skills need to be trained simultaneously at the same time, including the skill of thinking in another language. If you want to learn to think in a different language, learning the grammar, translating the words, learning how to write, and learning how to speak is not enough. You need to understand how those people think. How do they see the world? Basically, you develop a parallel cognitive system. It's a different cognitive system. You see things differently there. You hear some words and you imagine completely different images when you hear those words. Let's say the word apple, in your language, you would see that image. In French or in English, you would see a completely different image of the same word, or the word integrity, or the word friendship. People would see different images because they grew up watching different movies, they grew up watching, having different superheroes, they grew up reading different fairy tales. They have completely different concepts culturally. It's always been like that. When we train writing skills, we essentially train speaking skills. We're improving our speaking skills if this is done correctly. So how this can be done correctly? So when you write in English, you're showing me and other people how you think in the English language. Because in order to come up with a sentence, you need to come up with it in your head first, and then you need to put it on paper. And when we have it written down, we can actually see the way we think. When people speak, people don't have that time to think about what they're saying. They don't have the time to analyze the way they think because it's too late. You have to respond right now, you have to say something right now. A lot of people speak to you at the same time. You have to react quickly, and there is no time to analyze it. And people might be noticing that they said something wrong, that they missed an article, that they confused the tense, that they said something that absolutely doesn't make sense. You may even notice that, you may even hear it. And you know what most people do? They say, oh yeah, I know, that's a mistake. Next time I'll do better.
Next time I'll do better.
There is no next time, because next time they make absolutely the same mistake. Because they have practiced this wrong version for so long that every time they speak, they're becoming excellent at their bad habits. They're becoming excellent at their mistakes because they're not practicing the correct version. And when you write, you actually have the time to look at the way you think, and you can analyze the way you think, right? The advantage of training writing skills to improve your speaking skills is that you have this time. So you need to use this time effectively. What I'm suggesting you do is that you look at it, and if you don't see anything yourself, ask someone to look at it as well. So in my courses, let's say I look at people's texts and I pay their attention to the phrases and to the words and to the way they construct their sentences. I show them moments where the music stops, because when you speak, it has to sound like music.
Music.
Every language has a rhythm. And when I read their text and it feels like music at the beginning, but then it suddenly stops, the music stops, or I trip over their words because they don't make any sense, or because the preposition is wrong, or because I see that these words together don't make any sense, I stop and I ask them what that actually is. And together with me, and with other people who are also participating in this process, if necessary, a person is learning to ask themselves these questions. All right, why do I use this word that way? Maybe I heard it from someone else. Maybe I heard it from a friend. Maybe I heard it from a Russian-speaking colleague, or maybe I heard it from a colleague who also speaks my first language. And we understand each other, both of us, we understand each other, but whenever I speak to native speakers, they don't get it. Why do I use this prepositions and not this prepositions? Maybe because I translated this word once incorrectly and it just got stuck with me. You need to ask yourself these questions. Where does it come from? Because very often when people do ask this question, they find out that, I don't know, I just thought that is correct and I've been thinking this way all my life, but I never asked myself, do I actually make myself clear? Do people actually understand me? And I've never asked myself, why do those people articulate their ideas that way? Why do they put these words together with these words? Why are these word combinations possible and those word combinations are not possible? I've never asked myself those questions. And then you're not learning if you don't have the answers to these questions. The only question that I ask people to ask all the time is this. Okay, look at your text. If you don't see that something is wrong with it, ask yourself, have I ever heard a native speaker say so? Or have I ever seen this word combination written by a native speaker? If your answer is yes, and you've heard it many times and you've seen it many times, go ahead and use it. If your answer is no, I don't know, or I'm not sure, then probably it's not English, probably you're imagining this. Or probably that's just the way you've always spoken, and people would understand you, especially people whose first language is similar to yours, is the same as yours, and people who work with you at the same office. But as soon as you need to reach out to new people with different accents, with different way of thinking, people who don't know you, you probably know, and you probably experienced that, people suddenly don't understand you. And you realize that you need to raise the bar for yourself. So we use writing to look at our language skills in that way. People are able to see the way they think, and people are able to ask themselves this question: have I ever heard a native speaker say so? And if the answer is no, I've never heard a native speaker say so, I give people a number of strategies to find out, okay, if this is incorrect, then what is actually correct? How do native speakers use this word? Which words can be used together with this word, and what's the best way to articulate the idea that I have in my mind that unfortunately cannot be translated directly from my first language? And it doesn't really matter if it cannot be translated. What matters is that I can communicate the meaning, the essence, the very gist of my idea, and not a number of words that are translated in the most correct way. It doesn't really matter. Communicating the meaning and connecting with a human being, with another human being, with the help of a language, with the magic of words, is important. But it's only possible, I would say, when you speak the same language, when the other person doesn't have to struggle understanding what you actually mean, when the other person doesn't have to guess whether you actually mean the same thing. The magic happens when you easily understand each other instantaneously, when you're able to understand not just the words and their direct translation, but when you can read and understand beyond the words, when you can understand what people actually mean. And writing is the best way, because through writing, you're practicing all the other skills. When you write, you have time to think. You're changing your thinking algorithms. When you write, you have the time to read your text out loud, so you can practice your pronunciation and your speaking skills. When you start doing the research, do other native speakers say that? You need to go and listen to a number of good examples, and you need to hear how people would pronounce and say exactly the words that you have written down. So you're practicing your listening skills. And again, when you do your research and you want to find out if native speakers actually use the word combinations that you want to use, and you're learning how native speakers articulate these ideas, you need to do some reading. And this is where you're practicing your reading skills. Reading every word, understanding every word, scanning large text for important information. But most importantly, you're improving your speaking skills when, after all the corrections you have done to your written version, you read it out loud. And you're 100% confident that whatever you're reading out loud is correct, and native speakers will understand you. And when you read that, and especially if you learn how to chunk, how to use the intonation, how to use the rhythm of the language, I have all the videos about that available as well. You're training not just writing or speaking or listening or reading separately, you're training the confidence that comes from within, because after all the research you have done, you are 100% confident that you're using the language correctly and other people will understand you. All this doesn't happen in one day. Writing, and even not in 21 days, and people can be telling you can develop this habit in 21 days. It never happens like that. It needs a little bit more time, but it's such an interesting journey, and I would call it a journey of self-discovery. You're discovering why you think that way. You're learning to learn the language, and you're learning the self-correction algorithms that can help you easily move to the next level, if you do want to move to the next level, and if you want to raise the bar of your language skills and your communication skills in a foreign language. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions about the video or about the writing skills and how it can be helpful in developing your speaking skills, ask the questions in the comments. And if you're interested in taking my writing course, look at the link below. It's going to be in the comments as well.